see, it's reported there in the newspaper this morning about a judge in Middleton District Court refusing to grant legal aid in cases over non-payment of COVID-19 fines. The judge refused to grant free legal aid to individuals who failed to pay fines for breaching COVID-19 regulations. Judge Joanne Carroll told Middleton District Court on Thursday that the state has faced considerable costs in dealing with the pandemic, and she was not prepared to approve free legal aid for those who refused to pay fines for breaching public health regulations during lockdown periods. These defendants were issued with fixed penalty notice, fixed charge notices in respect of travelling outside the permitted area and various offences, non-essential travel essentially. So penalty notices were permitted: €100 for non-essential travel, €500 for non-essential journeys to an airport or port, and €150 for attending house parties. If an individual who was issued with a fixed penalty notice didn't pay, then they were prosecuted and they'd be brought before the district court. That's what happened in this case, and the judge was told that one case a man was fined for going outside his 5 kilometres limit after being stopped at a checkpoint near Middleton on January 14th. He refused to give Gardaí a reason, etc., etc. However, he did explain to the judge that he was bringing his wife, I think, to court or to hospital for surgery. He wasn't convicted, but there was many other individuals convicted for non-essential journeys. There was 2 lads going to buy a car, and there was a lady then involved who was prosecuted and who gave verbal abuse apparently to the Gardaí. They were convicted, but interestingly the judge decided not to grant legal aid in these cases. Legal aid, just to remind you, is a system, criminal legal aid system is one which is for impecunious and not well off persons who are charged with offences who are at risk of going to prison, or at least that was the situation when I was doing criminal law there a few years ago. I don't do it anymore, thankfully, but generally you'd only get legal aid if you were at risk of going to prison and if you were a person of impecunious means. In other words, if you had plenty of money, you'd be expected to pay for your own legal defence. Motor traffic, road traffic offences, for example, it could be hard enough to get legal aid for road traffic offences. And I can remember in one case where a judge used to take the view that if you could afford to drive a motor car, you could afford to get your own legal counsel, your legal defence, and you weren't entitled to get it from the state. But this is an interesting case because the judge basically takes the view that the state has spent a lot of money in trying to enforce the COVID-19 regulations. These people are in breach of those regulations, and she has refused legal aid, to grant legal aid in these cases. Do you think that this is a fair decision? Do you think that these people are completely and utterly misconceived and misguided, and no way under the sun should they be granted legal aid? There's no way that the taxpayer should be funding their defence? Or do you believe that these people are taking these principled positions, these views on principled grounds, and that they're the modern day equivalent of Gandhi or Martin Luther King? Is that your view? Do you think they should be given legal aid? And before you decide that that is the case and they're taking a principled view, then look, I'd be interested to hear your comments down below. Obviously there's probably going to be mixed views, mixed opinions about the situation, but that's one judge anyway, Judge Joanne Carroll in Middleton District Court. So would you give the thumbs up and the hats off to Judge Joanne Carroll, or would you think that this is another element of, or another example of, the state and the judiciary doing down persons who have a principled view about being able to travel outside a particular area and buy a second-hand car? Comments below. Thanks a lot.